Boom. Hey, YouTubers, Juggernaut here, just sitting back with nxtlvltech and Rohas on Beyond the Streams. And that's right, they wanted to chat with me. Relax, enjoy the video.
Oh boy, here we go, guys. We're going to be in for a good one today. We have no idea what the hell happens on these shows half the time. I think I've said this once before that I say we're not qualified to do half of this stuff because we're not tech savvy enough. Next Level says we're too tech savvy.
Oh my god, I'm not even going to get into that.
Every day.
I believe that was a video, tech savvy.
Yeah, there was a video.
An entire show. I think it was an entire stream of shows.
Yeah. It was. I'm too tech savvy for you.
We were actually joking on one of our last videos that we're going to come out with a shirt that says "I'm too tech savvy for this BS."
Coming soon.
Yeah, that's right. That's
coming
right.
Very soon. So there's always a joke of the day, Jugs. There's always, I think every single show it's been now a tradition where we always make fun of something about Next Level's beard. So if you want to think of a good joke, I'm going to put you here on the spot. Normally I just say, hey, Rojas, Next Level here. And we have Next Level with his beard and probably has a chicken wing lost in there. There's always a joke on there. So if you want to throw a stab at it, go for it.
I was going to go with like the chicken wing in there or something too, but from here, it kind of just looks like a big nasty bird's nest. It's like they don't fly. Geese don't fly away for the winter. This
is where the Canadian geese come from. Okay, yeah, they fly south for the winter. They come out of my beard. We were actually joking before this. Before we started recording here, my girlfriend and I played a prank on Rojas on Friday, which was almost a week ago. Sending him pictures of me cutting my beard, and he jumped on this recording session today, thinking that he was going to see, in his words, a tamer Next Level. And he is not getting a tamer Next Level today. So anyways.
And no joke.
An awesome day. Huh?
No, I was going to say, no joke. Like, you guys sent me pictures. I want to say we even got on a phone call too.
I think we did. We did, yeah. We
got on a phone call. And she was telling me, she's just like, hey, so we have to make a deal with this. Are we going to get like a drone, or are we going to get like, what are we going to get for this? And I was like, I can make a drone happen. I can make it happen, but it's got to be trimmed pretty good, and the hair. And she's like, "Oh, we'll take care of it." And they sent me a picture, and I was just like, "Dude, I need a picture with the hair too."
Yeah, with it laying there.
5 days later, I'm over here thinking about it, and then we turn this thing on, and I'm just like, "Dude, you didn't cut anything, did you?
You're still ugly.
You're still ugly."
So for everybody who's listening, Jugs, Juggernaut is blessing our show today. And before we really dive in, if you want anything that you want to tell the people who you are, where you're from, what do you do, just like a quick little introduction, go for it.
Well, just like to say thanks for letting me come on the show. I was looking forward to this. I am the Juggernaut. Ironically, I'm from Canada. I am a YouTuber personality. I'm ultra famous, just huge in the YouTube community. Everybody knows me. Just ask them. And if they don't, explain who I am. No, I'm just a small guy from Canada that got involved with YouTube through my experiences in the Cody community and led into other things, which we're going to get into. But in a nutshell, that's me.
Nice. And yes, this is the Juggernaut.
This has been a long time coming. We've been trying to connect with you to do an interview, and I've seen some interviews that you've done in the past, and I've absolutely loved your story. So when we first started to do interviews, you were like top of my list. I was like, Rojas, we got to do an interview with Jugs. I want Jugs on the interview. I want Jugs. And we did a live stream, and you had jumped on, and we asked who they want to see on the interviews, and majority of the people said they wanted Juggernaut. So we're giving them Juggernaut today. So tell us a little bit about kind of your story. Where did it all start? Like, did it all start with Cody? Did it start before Cody? What got you to Cody, and what did that look like?
Well, I have a great long past, so I'm going to skip over a lot of the past. Let's just say, in my previous life, many years ago, I didn't lead a straight and narrow legal life, and it got me in trouble, and I went away for a while and things like that. But during that time, before I did, I went to college to get my Microsoft certification. And while I was at college, I started learning more about Kodi even back then. I heard about it and things like that, but never jumped on board, never did anything, never went any further.
Can you take a stab at what year that was, like roughly?
It would have been, everything happened 96. The end of it was 2001. So wow. 2001, 2002 is when I started learning more about XBMC, which what it was at that time, the Xbox Media Center, which is an open source media player. Anyway, so then, never really got into it much more, found out much more about it, anything like that. And then fast forward, I was working at our local university where we live. It's one of the largest universities in Canada. And I was with the College of Medicine, and I'm an IT tech audiovisual guy. That's my niche, and that's my certifications and anything I've taken in my knowledge base. Well, then there was a couple of guys in there that start talking about Android boxes, and I'm like, Android what? So I started looking into it. Of course, the names pop up, Shield and other brand names, things like that. And they were talking about Kodi. And that's when, so you use it. How do you like it? And they loved it. I started getting into it. So what I did is I turned around and I thought, well, this is a way that I can make some money. I can purchase boxes and I can resell those boxes. And on those boxes, through watching YouTube and things like that, learned about groups that are on Facebook and other platforms, and just kind of sat back and looked at people, listened or read about people like, hey, well, this is what I do when I do installs, or I include these in my packages and things like that. And I thought, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to follow suit. It seems to be working for people. So I got into Kodi, putting Kodi on the boxes. At first, did not know what a build was. I'm like, learned about that. Learned that it's the paint job, but what makes Kodi look like it does, and organized it for people. I thought, well, I'm going to get into that, and I just happened to stumble across titanium. Now, titanium was a build, so I was using that. I just put it on there, and again, it's kind of like a snowball effect. Using that build, then I had no idea about who created it, the group that's part of it, or anything like that. And I happened to stumble on it in a conversation with somebody, and they talked about a Facebook group. So that Facebook group was Supremebuilds. I'm like, I joined it. I read and listened to YouTube videos of a person that is part of that group, and come to realize this is the person who created the build I'm using. And at that time, there was a lot of videos out there, and there was a lot of people going hard at resellers like that are including builds and things like that. And some of them were charging for doing that, which it was included. There was no increase in price or anything like that. If you didn't want it, the cost of the box is still the same. And then so I actually approached the creator of Titaniumbuild and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And got to know him very well, and then I became a mod in the group, and then I became an admin in the group, and I've been with that group ever since. Like that. This where this hat is one of our Supremebuilds hats. But I still pushed forward with Kodi, and then out of the blue, I made a joke. I should do one of my own, and I don't know what to call it. So while I'm going in there and working on creating a build and doing it the way I like, well, my nickname is the Juggernaut, and that nickname has followed me from as long as I can remember. It's just one of those things, because I'm unstoppable. Once I move forward, I don't stop, regardless of what it is. It could be It could be at work. It could be eating a burger. It could be doing whatever it is. It's just that was my name, Juggernaut. Yeah, I had to slip the burger in there because I got chubby cheeks, folks. And then,
but how long have you had that name, Juggernaut?
Juggernaut, high school, 88.
Oh, damn.
88. It was because at that time, you know, like I was a smaller guy. Then I started to grow and always fighting, things like that, you know, working in bars and that type of thing. Like I said, my past, and it's just that holy, he's a juggernaut. And as I got older, I didn't want that stigma of like, oh, gee, like he's the fighting machine or he gets into trouble or things like that. I wanted the Juggernaut. So I created that build. And then it led into, you know, again, the snowball effect. I started learning more about it, learning more about YouTube, decided to jump on YouTube and become a YouTube creator. You know, learned a lot and still learning every day up until like even 10 minutes ago, I learned something from these two guys. So it's, and then here we are now, you know, like, I guess we'll, you know, maybe get into some more stuff, but yeah, that's my journey to where we're sitting right now.
Cool. I wanted to bring something up that I thought was something new for me. You said something about you got your Microsoft Associates. Was that your MTA?
No, MCSE, Microsoft Certified. Microsoft.
Oh, so certified. You went. Yeah, that's the master level, because it starts MTA, MCSA, and then MCSE. Or you could split MCSE to MCSD. So I know all about that entire journey because I did actually the exact same thing. My job back in the day, man, from 2012 to 2016, I was at this place, and they actually paid for me to get my MTA, and then the MCSA, and so forth. How was that process for you when you were going through that certification? Because I remember it was like, I still got my books literally right here, and they're extremely thick, and it's not an easy read.
Well, see, the difference is like back in the day, someone showed my age and stuff. When they had the MCSE, it started off when you get your I forgot what it's called. The essentials or things that, oh, wow. Yeah. But when you, so that book, if people are listening onto a podcast, you just showed a Bible thick book, just SQL server base. But back in the day is you have all the electives. So I took my CMT and got that, which is a computer maintenance technology, which now became the A+. Then I also took my LAN administration. So in LAN administration kind of branched out to LAN administration to get into your Cisco, Cisco servers, Cisco certifications. And then it was MCSE. There was no other ones. It was just MCSE, the 2000 core it was called. And doing the 2000 core, it's just a conglomerate of everything put together. And the thing that bothered me is because I took my electives, went through everything in the college that I went to. You couldn't write the final exam there. You had to go to another school itself to write it, and you had to pay $1,000. Well, I didn't have $1,000, so I have everything. I just don't have the paper. And to be honest, I just used the knowledge of everything that I took to get into my job situations when I was working at the College of Medicine at the university and things like that, and to just have that knowledge. I have yet to specifically work at a job that was designed for that I had to use in my certification. You know, I haven't done that because I've always been kind of held back that I didn't have the actual certificate or things like that, because, you know, it's just like, okay, well, I have the certificates that I created or that I finished and graduated with all the electives and took the course and graduated the course with a 95. But, and then it's, But it's never really propelled me further to do more of it, because just as Rohas, just as you've shown, it has changed, because the landscape of technology is changing every second. So everything that I was doing, base stuff like that in the 2000 core, has changed, because at that time we were Windows Server 2000. You know, where that's it was Server 2000, and you're getting into just databases that are no longer in use, but that's just because they're version numbers and they've adapted and evolved over the 18 years.
Yeah.
19 years. Oh my goodness. 19. That's crazy.
I like how you just rubbed in my face where you said 95%. I actually failed it the first time I took it. The introductory, the MTA. Yeah, I failed it. I was like, I went in, I studied like crazy, and I overthought everything. I second guessed a lot of stuff. I second questioned myself on a lot of stuff. And I think the rule is you have 3 times in 1 year to take the test.
Yeah.
And then if you fail after the 3rd time, you have to wait 1 year after the 3rd time before you can retake it. So the 2nd time I took this test, oh my gosh, I want to say it was a 90 some. I forget what it was. But yeah, it took me 2 tries to get through the basics. Now after that, going through the MCSE and all that stuff, my job had a lot to do with server-based SQL, Tableau, BI tools, crystal reports. There's just so many things on there, and they wanted somebody who was good at just report writing, pulling data directly from the servers and stuff. So it was a lot. I hated it. I'm not a person that likes to study. I love to learn, but reading that thick Bible, and that's one of 3.
That's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, and that's only for the basics of the MTA. I want to say the whole series, all the way from the MTA to the MCSE, might be like 12 books or 16 books, something like that. I every time I look at those books, I'm like, how does anybody have that time to write this stuff down? Because it's just so much.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, listening to Jug's, I guess, introduction to tech, and already knowing some of your background, Rohas. You guys are both kind of involved in tech, but in the healthcare and medicine fields. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and I thought that you guys would have a lot to relate to, kind of stories and whatnot inside the industry. So it's kind of cool that you jumped into that and started asking those certifications and all that kind of good stuff. That's really cool. We can actually make those connections in the community. I love it.
Well, the downfall is like I love tech and I continue to do it, and I fed that need to be doing something technical, whether it's small or anything. I was doing everything with Android and Kodi and things like that. And it's about a year, it's about a year ago that I decided to leave the College of Medicine, working at the university, which is it was an awesome job. The guys there are amazing. It's just, in that environment, job-wise, you didn't know the security of your job, because there's always contract disputes, there's threatening strike, walking on eggshells. My theory is, no matter what I'm doing, you always have that time in your life. It's like where you're doing a self-evaluation, and it should happen quite a few times, and no matter what you're doing. But with jobs, if I have the days like, oh, I'm going to call in sick, or I'm just feeling lazy, okay, so be it. If it comes to I'm not having fun anymore, I'm not enjoying my job, I'm a firm believer that I need to enjoy my job, then I move on, no matter what I'm doing. And that's why, I left an excellent job, and because of COVID, the job I was doing afterwards, I couldn't go back. And now this guy who is certified, who got into tech, is actually working with his hands every day doing concrete. That's where I am now.
Are you just breaking the concrete with your hands, or?
My first day on the job, we moved 25,000 pounds of broken concrete, and I moved every pound of that with my hands.
Jeez.
I had to lift it up and put it into a bucket of a bobcat or ramrod, like that, and then it gets dumped. And I had to pick every big chunk, piece, everything up, 25,000 pounds. And then I had to hand shovel 15,000 pounds of gravel to put back on there. That was my first day on the job.
I can see it already. I can see already the foreman, bring out the Juggernaut.
Well, when there's a guy like my age, I'm 49 years old. I'm going to be 50 in a couple months. And my age doing something like that, and the guys I'm working with, of course, the owner is a little bit older than me. The co-owner, his son, is 10 years younger than me. And there's guys who are in the 20 years old working and powering away. I'm the guy who's out of shape. I'm the guy who's gasping for air and still keep doing it. Not as limber as these guys. So bending down, picking things up, but can pick up the weight once I grab something. Yeah, it's been a learning curve. Yeah,
it's crazy. Now I know with the venture, you're talking about getting into Cody and all that stuff. Was there any particular YouTubers that you were looking at? I think you said supremebuilds was like the first build that you were looking at. What were your first YouTubers that you started to watch and learn? Same thing. What were the first add-ons and builds that you were messing with?
It was randomly, is because I never experienced YouTube a lot, so I never really knew how to use it, even though it's simplistic now thinking about it. But I didn't know who to search for. I didn't know what to put in there, like as search parameters to try to find something. I came into looking on YouTube and looking through there for information at the time that YouTube started clamping down on the actual word Cody, and trying to fight back against something that is an open source. So what I was watching, it went all over. I went from, I did back in the day, I watched Solo Man, caught videos from there. Then I got turned on from there to Demetriology, from there to Mashenga, and then I started finding lots about reviews, and there's lots of, they've come and go there, but there's many out there to review and learn about add-ons. Because again, when I was using titanium, it wasn't for me to know the backgrounds or where to find or how to put add-ons on. They were already done for me. It was someone else who was doing it. But when I created Juggernaut, I had to learn all that. Which add-ons should I be using? Which ones are clones of each other's, just different names? How the add-ons work? How to answer questions about like when it's not working? Because I'm the type of guy, okay, well then I got to fix it, but then I have to humbly realize I didn't create it, so I can't fix it. I have to wait. So YouTube videos, yeah, there's lots of those. And then, again, it's been a couple years now. Getting into more YouTube. So I started all the way from learning nxtlvltech to Rohas reviews to, a whole bunch more, other YouTube groups that circle around this and are dwell specifically into Cody. There's other groups that are roundabout way into things like that. So it's, I've named a few. But other than that, it's just been anybody you can think of. I just took that knowledge and then I started to filter out, because then, as we all know, some of the names that I put down there, I stopped watching them, because it's just things changed and the information changed from education to, impression. They wanted not to impress, but they wanted to also push you to purchase things. So, and that's not for me.
So would you say that, if it's free, it's for you, or like, what's your opinion on, that scale? Are you ones that look for more premium things in your streaming, entertainment world, or are you looking for more things that are for free? Or
I base things on for myself personally, because I am educated on it and I learned the knowledge very quick. I'm on the full scale. I'll use free premium premium services, things like that. That's for myself. If I'm talking to anybody or doing any YouTube video, is I work on the premise that I'm going to put information about both out there and let the people decide. So if somebody had to ask me, just like you, if they say, what would you recommend? I don't follow it by, just by saying, well, whatever you want to do it. No, what I recommend is let me ask you a few questions, as in what's your knowledge base and what do you want to do about it? And then base it on there. If you want free, then these are the devices that you can use. This is the applications you can put on there that will give you your free content, but you need to be aware and follow different YouTube groups or different Telegram groups or whatever the platforms are, to realize that when you're going free, there's always going to be little hiccups, ups and downs on it, because free is not always free. And what I mean by that is it's free for us to try to use, free for us to try to get the content, but it's not always free for the person who's providing that for you, because time can also equate to money. Time can also equate to, like the gain and loss of different things on there. But if you don't want to take that time to educate yourself, you just want something that's simple, then here is an application that works. Here's a service that actually is going to cost you a couple bucks, but is going to provide you this. And then here's the support groups for those, so I try to balance that. I have no problem gaining as much as I can for free, but for myself, I prefer to have some premium services that I do spend very little money for, that I can get what I want.
Right. It's like free is not always free of frustration. So as long as you can deal with frustrations, then maybe free is for you then.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a good catchphrase, but I couldn't do it on the fly.
I got you. Now, can you tell me, I want to know more about you becoming a box seller.
Okay.
I want to hear your story about that, because I heard a little bit about it, and I was always intrigued about, your process, how you got into it, how you started actually pushing them out the way you did, because I thought that was a really interesting story.
Well, when I decided that I could actually not decided, when I was educated on that I could actually make some money, and the different venues that I could purchase these boxes, because here in where I live, there's a couple, like liquidation sellers, like where they have all the cheap stuff that either other stores didn't want, or they kind of undersell things, or they buy abroad and sell them here for cheaper prices. And I was going through there and I saw a box. And I saw that they were selling for like $70 or whatever. Then when I started learning where I can go onto Amazon, where I can go to Alibaba, where I can go to different venues to purchase boxes, and going through that step that I can get them cheaper. So then I just started purchasing on my own, get a few here. And I actually put it out on Facebook into my personal thing and started selling. Then I created a Facebook group and was advertising there. Then I started making more purchases, and it just kind of, again, started snowballing into that, to where the community that I live in, at the time when I was selling these, was only 10,000, just less than 10,000 people, 10,000 people populace here. And in it's about 11 months. So from just about a year, when I started getting into really full blown advertising and doing things that I could get away with on Facebook and word of mouth, and that is, I was exceeding 4,000 boxes sold in my community.
That's crazy.
And then the proverbial crap hit the fan with Amazon. Amazon took off any boxes that were labeled fully loaded, because that's on Amazon. They used to sell them fully loaded, and it would have Cody or anything on there, and it's the actual words fully loaded. And Amazon came out and said that any devices or any boxes that had fully loaded, they were basically going to strip them off their site. And any incomplete delivered or non-delivered items that were purchased under that heading were not going to be delivered, and a refund was going to be issued. At that time, my purchase was $11,900 worth of boxes.
Wow.
And I had pallets upon pallets of boxes coming. Like I was going to, like, in this, the city is 7 kilometers from me that I was getting into is over 250,000 people, and all the little towns, like out here, and they were all joining my one group. And the group never grew like too huge, but I mean, word of mouth and dealing, like my phone was going off the hook. And then all of a sudden I got that notification email that the shipment that I ordered, the cases and pallets like that, is now null and void. While I had to wait 165 days. No, not 100, sorry. 364 days, 1 day to a year, to get a refund. So I had all these people coming after me for money when I didn't have money. I'm not rich. I didn't have the money and stuff like that. So what I started doing is just put out each fire as much as I could, helping them get in another box, or if I could purchase it and things like that. Some of them just basically because they're purchasing it and it wasn't wasn't expensive, just wrote me off. Oh well, c'est la vie type thing, whatever. But there was a majority of the amount that I had to come up with my own money, working to give them to pay them back. Then when I got refunded, that's when, okay, now I'm dishing out refunds and anybody who have already refunded and stuff like that. Then I decided I'm not going to purchase any more boxes. I'm going to, backtrack. At that time, in between the refund and dealing with people, that's when I got more into guiding people to putting on Cody and learn about services, as a way to give them what they wanted, but not where they physically bought a box from me. And I guided them to Amazon, to where they can purchase their own, and showed them different avenues to Amazon. And there's a couple other ones like Bang Goods. What's that?
Bang Goods.
Yeah, and then Vipon and stuff like that. Like different places and stuff like that, and they purchase it. And then because it in my thing, like there was some of them that included controllers. And see, and that's the thing is, in that big pallet, or there was multiple pallets, but like that, in a lot of those orders that I had put on to one of my selections that people can get was retro gaming. So I have like 15,000 ROMs, and I have the emulators and everything, and I would put it on there, and they would purchase a controller, game controller, which actually I thought I had one sitting in here, but the game controllers came. So I had the game controllers, but I didn't have the boxes. So it was just it was a big, stressful mess just to get it together. And all I could do is my wife said, you can only do what you can, one step at a time. So I just dealt with it. And it literally took a couple years to get things settled. Do I have either people who have just written it off, and I've dealt with them now in services and things like that, but have not, haven't sat there and said, you still owe me money. Okay, so I still owe you your $49. Okay, all right. Here's $50. But it's that right there was one of the biggest learning experiences, to be humbled by where you think you're getting somewhere, where you think that you're like, when you're getting 4,000, it's like, when I calculated and we looked at, look at 4,800 in one community, 4,800 boxes, or, just under it. And you think, wow, man, like I'm a superhero at this. Mm-hmm. Let's move into the market, into the city, and start doing that, and thinking, geez, I can make some money. And then all of a sudden you just get the rug pulled out from underneath you, and you're like, I owe a lot of money. It's like, boy, oh boy. So I learned to do things a little bit different. And now I still have people, hey, I just purchased a device, which they purchased a Shield. Can you set it up for me? Absolutely. My brother or my sister-in-law or my Uncle Bob is looking for a device. You sold us this one long ago, which was the A95X. That was the first box I sold, the A95X. And I'm like, unfortunately, I do not sell boxes anymore, but I send them links. Here's 3 links. Here's top, here's middle, and here's budget. And then side notes, budget, you're going to be buying another one, can be anywhere from 6 months to a year. Midline, you could be using that one maybe a year and a half, with escalation on this. If you want to do any game stuff, then you want to move up to the top. And the top has always been still for me is, the Shield plug.
It's funny for me because when I see people that are selling devices in the community, at least where I live, and I see the devices they're selling, these are devices that I maybe would have purchased 2 or 3 years ago. So when you say budget, I'm still thinking the budget devices that you're recommending are better than the other devices that are on the market from other sellers. Would you say that's about right?
Yep. And yeah, exactly. The budget ones that I would think now are tenfold better than the 1-in-8 A95X, that's running on there. But the one thing that I do want to say is, I don't know if it was going to be a question, but some people do ask me, like, would you ever get back into it? I would get back into selling devices but using strictly the 4K, the stick.
There's a funny story about that too.
Well, I was always against Amazon, the first gen, second gen, stuff like that. And then one of my subscribers on my YouTube channel sent me from the States. He's not in Canada. He sent me from the States, sent me an Amazon 4K. And I'm like, okay, I slipped it into the TV upstairs, which in our house is the furthest from my router downstairs. And when we have a pretty big house, so it's 3 levels down, 2 floors down. Anyways, excellent Wi-Fi, easy to set up, and I don't need to put extra on there, and I have everything. And I mean, I can watch all my movies, everything, and it works awesome. So I got another one. I put it in the basement for my kids. And when my brother came to visit, I quickly grabbed one, put it on the TV downstairs so they can have everything. So in my house, 2 4Ks and a Shield. And previously to that, I was switching out those A95 boxes and then going to a B-Link box and then, things like that. And don't get me wrong, if people are listening, stuff like that, if the device works for you and exactly what you want to do with it, then use it. Absolutely. Then use it. The only thing that you're going to get when raising the bar on the type of device that you want is if you want to use it for other things, beyond, like if you want to do gaming, streaming, or things like that, or if you just want it to be physically faster, like some people are slow, like, because I still have, I can grab when previous to us starting the broadcast, like behind me, I was rearranging some things. Mm-hmm. Sitting on there is what do you call that? An MSQ or MXQ box.
These things are notorious.
Yep. Yeah, I have. And I have old boxes on the floor over there, like his boxes of them, still like it's so. I mean, and some people, hey, it still works perfect for me. Absolutely, I'm not going to try to sell you different because I don't make any money from that. Mm-hmm. But
how long would it take you to load a device?
Back in the day,
yeah,
30 seconds.
Really?
Reason is because I use TWRP.
Yep.
And so I did the first one. So whatever box I was going to be using, and then I would use twerp, the nickname twerp on there to do an actual physical backup of that, of the whole thing. It would back up everything that I put on there. And for whatever box I had. So if you have the A95X and then you get into the 1-in-8, 2-in-16, things like that. And then when there was an update, the firmware or anything like that, or even a different box, have a different USB for those, done with a complete backup. So the very first one would take me longer, like back in the day when they're going those slow, you're looking at like 40 minutes to set up or even longer. But once that's set up, do a backup of it and then just plug and play, just slip it in and ding, it just backs up. It's done. Next, just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. And that does all of your builds and add-ons and everything. It's like a complete clone from one device to another.
Yeah, but that's why I've always did it, and I've never veered away from that. Is I do it box for box. So I mean, like I wouldn't use one that I would do on a B-Link to another one to a Minix box, things like that, because when it's installing, the locations of install programs are always the same when they're going to go to the root of the box, and not to confuse the root of rooting a box. It's actually to the base. Yeah. Where files are going to go, the file structure, the hierarchy of it, it's going to be the same, but some of them installed differently for different, whether it's going to be 32-bit or 64 or different OS on there, version numbers. So I always had identical. So I had at one point 3 or 4 different USBs. Some of them were SD cards too, because some of them you just slip an SD card in and you boot up right from it. As soon as you just plug it in, ding, click, back up. Walk away, go get a pop, or I love freezies, so go get a freezie and then come back. It's done. Yeah. Pop it out. Too many times on the SD, I'd pop it out and it'd spring past me like an idiot. But fun. Now you got me pumped to do boxes again.
You're like, dang
it. Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. Man, I love that story, man. Just really making a name for yourself, holding down a city, being able to learn how to do boxes in 30 seconds. Like, there's not a lot of people that know how to do that. I'm like straight. Like, I mean, when I first got into it, I would use, app backup and restore. I'd use the auto installers and that stuff like that. But to do a complete clone of a device to save you that much time is something that I didn't really, to be honest, learn about until I started talking to you and one of my other friends. And I always was very interested in that stuff. But from very early on, because I've only been a part of the streaming community for maybe 3.5, 4 years at the most. And when I really got into it, I was Amazon only. And at that point, you can't really do those things with Amazon. As much as I would love to, you can't. So it was I was laughing when you said you got your first Fire Stick. We're both in Canada here, and it's a general consensus when you go around, you start asking people about, the Fire Sticks. Even people who sell devices steer you away from the Fire Sticks because they don't know better. I find a lot of people here in Canada don't know how to set up Fire Sticks properly. And that's kind of why I started getting to, doing educational videos, trying to change that mindset with people. And I think when you got your Fire Stick, I sent you my setup video and I was like, here, watch this. Shoot me any messages. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. And then I sent you, how do you get this? And how do you do that? And set it up because it was my first time and it's a little bit, it was a little bit different on the OS on there. But I mean, it's, it's not that difficult to do if you have some basic knowledge. But then again, if anybody who needs any help, then that's why there is a plethora of information out there. And that's why I like to work towards pointing them to proper mediums, like, the groups or YouTube or things like that, to get proper information, because equally the amount of good information you can have, there's equal bad information on there. And so doing these boxes and learning how to do them in speed and that. And as of when I was doing the box selling, what I came across and what set me on the path to make sure that I'm being legit with people on, like what's going on in the box. This is what we do. This is what, is done on there. There was a couple box sellers, one that was local too, that he was doing things with advertising. And I don't know, I'm not a coder. I can manipulate code on just about anything. I'm not an actual person that can write code. And he designed his own actually modified firmware that would go on there, and he printed off a sticker and stuck it on the box. And how I learned about it is they were MXQs that people were bringing to me after hearing about me that had his firmware on there, and it just wasn't, not everything was functioning on it, but he was selling it as like, these are custom made boxes by me, things like that. And at that time, quick backtrack on that, is I explored getting my own clamshell boxes, down to the minis, down to the little bit the full size ones, and getting the boards to put in there to make the boxes. Because even to this day, there's only 3 There was 4, went to 3. There might even be 2 now, and I haven't looked in a long time, but there's only 3 manufacturers of the inside of every box you buy. Doesn't matter what the name's on it, either way, from the A95X to the Minix to everything. There's only very few custom ones that, you know, like when you're dropping names or stuff, when you get into like the Buzz box, or you get Buzz TV or box, or whatever they are, or you get into the formulas. And I always want to say formula, but it's formular. Things that those are custom made for the insides. They have their niche. But the Chinese knockoffs that people have, or that we name them that, the Chinese knockoffs, no disrespect, or no, I want to be politically correct on that. Make sure I don't upset anybody. Is the knockoff boxes have the same chipset, the same SoC, you know, system on chips, of every other box. And you can, if you want to take them apart and you take a look at the board, you know, take a look at your PCB, flip it over, and it'll say where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. You know, so when someone was trying to custom make boxes and things and they were charging outlandish money, that's the thing that got me, is I know what I'm worth. And when this person is triple the amount, and I get a box and they bricked it, and they said, if it's bricked, I'll buy the box that you want me to get. So it was bricked, it overheated, and I'm like looking at it, and it's square. Like, look at it, and it's perfectly a label on there. I'm like, but it feels like, you know, feels like that lip you get when you put a screen protector on your phone. Yeah. That lip, I'm like, I peeled it off, and then you see it, the silver MXQ label. I'm like, get out, you know. So that to me is one of the reasons why I stick to being transparent and trying to provide the best information that I can. And I have no problem if I've learned something that's actually maybe wrong, to learning it and putting that new information out. When it comes to cutting the cord, we say it across. That's the one thing that everybody agrees on. Do your research. Learn from different people, learn what is good, learn what is real, learn what it will work for you, and then base any decisions you're going to do on that. Make sure to check out everybody's YouTube channels, everybody's Facebook groups, Telegram groups. Join it as much as you can, and then filter it down. You know, like I did that. I was part of probably 10, 15 different things, and now I'm down to 6. And 3 of them are mine. Hint, hint. Yeah. I really don't know. I was coming into this show thinking I would try to think of some things to, you know, put out there and educate people, or try to leave a lasting memory in people. And I'm hoping just by being myself, and you know, you learn some about me, and would like you to come and, you know, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I haven't been on a lot lately, but I've been on other people's shows, and I'm going to be changing that because I'm coming to the end of my season for concrete. So that means if I don't secure employment doing something else, I'm going to be sitting on this big butt during the winter. And while idle hands, I like to do YouTube. So search for the Juggernaut channel, and go check me out. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to think of something witty. I'm trying to think of something that's concrete, but I'm going to end my spot like this, like I normally do on my broadcasts, my videos and things like that is today is the only day that's guaranteed. Tomorrow is not. If by chance that you are called home to any higher power that you have, and we are the ones left behind, try to make it that it's not negative. We want to celebrate your life, and we want to celebrate you. We don't want to be mourn, or we want to worry about any drama. So on that note, make sure you contact anybody and everybody in your life that you love, and tell them exactly that you love them. No time like the present, you know what I mean? So, and it's love, peace, and chicken grease.
Love it. Love that ending. I always love that ending, Jugs. In the description of wherever you're watching this, you will find all the links to Juggernaut's channel. So make sure you jump over there, you subscribe, you show them some love and some support.
Absolutely. And I always crack up every time you say that. The chicken grease. Chicken grease is good for you. I don't care what anybody says. It's delicious. So yeah, just once again, thank you very much for coming. This has been fun. We always, we're going to be exploring some more stuff in the future. So hopefully we will be able to get you back on here. Maybe a future episode of something of maybe what the hell will be pretty fun. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I think it'll be fun to have you. But check it out, and maybe it could be something we could bring you in as a guest on those episodes. So with all that being said, make sure if you guys, wherever you guys are listening, wherever you guys are watching, make sure you guys look at the description. You will find Juggernaut's YouTube channel and his information there. Very knowledgeable guy, and you could learn a lot. Of course, make sure you guys leave us a comment below. Even if we do not comment back, we do read every single one of them, and we really, truly appreciate every single person who's following and subscribed to us. And with all that being said, one of the things that we'd like to say here is you guys take care and take care of each other.
And stay humble and be patient.
We'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.